Testing. 1, 2, 3. Carl Kalanch for the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here on our live show. I will be sharing this right now. Just give me 1 second as I share the program. I know right now we are live. For it to kick off. Right now we are live. Thank you for all of those who are joining us here right now. The Sports Hit List. There's a lot to get into today when it comes to the world of sports. There's so many things that are trending. There's so many topics. I don't even know where to begin myself. So many things going on out there in the world of sports. I'm trying to pull up my link, but it's not working. But there's so much to talk about. You have Aaron Rodgers not getting vaccinated and he's catching COVID. You have World Series champions. Congratulations to the Atlanta Braves on winning the World Series last night. We have Scottie Pippen's book is being released, and he's on his chatty patty. So there's a lot. Pippen's book I know NFL definitely does have a lot of content, but there's definitely a lot of coverage to cover for the NFL. I definitely do the best job I can to cover you guys, but like I said. You also have Odell Beckham Jr. and he's being sent home as far as where is he going. So I know Aaron Rodgers is basically leading the way with his news. I'm not sure exactly how we can how to address that, because there are people who believe that he should be vaccinated and how this is going about. How's the NFL going to handle this entire situation? I can't bump the NBA talk because you guys get a whole hour on Sunday. So, and you guys get Monday, we talked about the NFL, and I'm sure they talked about the NFL yesterday too. So I'm not bumping the NBA for the NFL for you guys to talk. I mean, you guys get a lot of coverage. I'm going to bring in Mr. Numbers as he's going to basically talk to us about, what's going on. Like I said, there's so many topics to get into. I don't even know where to begin with it. Also, in the second half hour, we will have a debate about, regular season versus postseason. And I think that's a good conversation to have among all sports. So thank you to those who are tuning into our show. Mr. Andres, how you doing, sir?
Can you hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear, sir. What's going on with the Lakers jersey, man? I don't know what's going on, man.
Come on, man.
I'll let that one slide. Yeah, I will definitely let that one slide. Brother, there's a lot going on in the world of sports. I don't even know where to begin. As I said before, Aaron Rodgers not being vaccinated. You got the World Series champions. Scottie Pippen's books being released, and there are excerpts from that are just, driving people crazy. Odell Beckham. Yeah, Odell Beckham apparently has been sent home. So the list goes on with the multiple sports topics.
You forgot the most important one, bro, the Henry Ruggs thing.
Yeah, the Henry Ruggs, they talked about that yesterday on the Fan Zone. Congratulations. A special shout out to the Fan Zone. They do a great job. But I'll let you pick. I normally give you an assignment beforehand, but since there's so many topics to discuss, I'll give you the floor to address any of the topics that I just talked about, because today is just a very busy day in the business. It is an absolute busy day.
We could talk about all of them. Let me break it down for you. So the Odell thing, I think like his dad going on that rant solidified that like he doesn't want to be there anymore, and basically that Baker's just like not finding him, which is weird because I always see Odell before his injuries. He was probably a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. Now he's probably not even top 20. That's sad to say because like his God-given talent was amazing. Next, the Aaron Rodgers thing. He told the staff that he wasn't like vaccinated. So everyone's saying that, he should get fined or he should get suspended for lying. That's just not true or stuff. Do I agree with him and what he's doing? No, obviously not. And people that know me know I'm a big Aaron Rodgers guy. What else do you say to the Scottie Pippen thing? Listen, man, Scottie Pippen, how old is he? Like 50-something years old? How do you wake up angry every morning at what Michael Jordan did with the Last Dance documentary, bro? Like in the 1998 season, the Bulls won 60 games and he only played in 44 of them. So like he should be grateful. Like we saw in the Last Dance, we saw that Scottie Pippen had that back injury, and Michael had what 45 points in Game 6 to lift him to victory. And Scottie Pippen had what 7? Like, how are you gonna wake up mad at the world every morning that you weren't Michael Jordan? Like, stop with the nonsense. And then you have all the other people outside of the sports where they're gonna say, "Oh, Scottie is right. The Last Dance was MG propaganda." Like, obviously it was MG propaganda. Like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, bro, you're like 50 something years old. You're a grown ass man. Like, why are you waking up mad at the world that? And then he's gonna say, "Oh, all my teammates agreed that MJ threw us all under the bus." Like, it's Michael Jordan we're talking about, dude. Like, he wasn't a role player or anything. But that's as far as those three topics go. The Henry Ruggs thing, unexcusable, unacceptable. Like, it's crazy what happened. I can't believe he was driving 156 miles per hour. The crazy thing
that's insane. That's unheard of. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even have words to that. Like, I was driving on the Cross Island the other day, and I got paranoid because cars just like sped by. Like, I hate when they're racing on the highway. And I'm an average driver, and it's just nerve wracking when you're coming home late. And I normally have a rule, like I don't like driving past 10 o'clock, and it's because I've driven past 10 o'clock on the LIE, on the Cross Island and the local highways around here. These guys are crazy, and they're speeding in and out of the lanes, and they don't care. That could be anybody out there. So I definitely have been one on the receiving end of being caught in the middle of a race late at night. So like I always tell my wife, and I say, listen, if it's not an emergency, I don't like being out past 10 o'clock, because those are the times where they start speeding and God knows what's going on. It's ridiculous.
A family lost their daughter, and it wasn't even her fault. And this kid driving 156 miles per hour gets to live. Like, it's unexplainable. It's unexcusable. And like you said, like today, I was doing 60 on the highway, and I was driving here. And then it pisses me off when people don't use their blinkers. Like, there's a reason they created blinkers. So you just have people swerving in and out to get to class. And it's really ridiculous, and it's sad. The last thing on your list, the Braves. Listen, man, it's what makes baseball so beautiful. Like, I don't understand why people hate on it. Like, think about it. They won 88 games. People were moaning and complaining about them having home field advantage over the Dodgers, and they beat the Dodgers. The Dodgers simply had to win more games. Then you got in the World Series, and the Astros. They look like, excuse me, they look like psychopaths against the Red Sox, and then they crumbled apart. The offense just couldn't produce. Like I said, baseball is not about who has the best team. It's about who gets hot at the right time. The Braves got hot in August, September, and they carried on to the playoffs, and they carried on to the World Series, and they won. You know, a lot of people saying, "Oh, they didn't deserve to make it because they only won 88 games." So they lost their best player. They traded for, like, not scrubs, but like not superstar players. They were buyers at the deadline, because a lot of people were saying that they should have sold Dansby. They should have sold Ozzy and not be buyers. They had an amazing bullpen. Amazing. They had Matzik. They had Will Smith, who's one of the best closers in baseball. They had Luke Jackson. They lost Charlie Morton, who was their ace to an injury in Game 1, who broke his fibula. Like, instead of criticizing the Braves, just give them credit. It's simple. And that's what makes baseball such an amazing sport. You can see it in football when Carson Wentz, he gave the Eagles home field advantage, and then Nick Foles took over. But in the NBA, if a superstar goes down, that team usually crumbles apart. So congrats to the Atlanta Braves on being the first team to win. Carl, you're a Yankees fan, so I can say this. The last time the Braves won, the Yankees won 4 of the next 5 World Series and 3 in a row.
So that's a positive for us. Ziggy Zig is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Sir, this is a busy day in sports. There's always a headline. So I have some topics today. You can decide if you want to address all of them, or you could play or pass. Like, we're going to play or pass. You want to play it, we'll talk about it. If you don't, you pass it. We got Aaron Rodgers, number 1, the World Series champions. Scottie Pippen's book is due, and he's making headlines, and Odell Beckham Jr. So you pick your poison. You want to play or pass, brother? It's up to you.
You know damn well I'm a pass on that baseball talk. You could leave me out of that. As far as the Aaron Rodgers, that's funny that you mentioned that. I just actually got off the train and I was reading it, and I saw that he can't play the game because he's unvaccinated. This unvaccinated thing is getting ridiculous. But
he tested positive too.
Oh, he tested positive. So now they're going to use that as a reason to say that, he did. He's not, give me a break. All right. So my question is, before I say what I want to say, if he didn't test positive, would he have still been able to play? Here's the thing. Saquon Barkley tested positive, right?
Mm-hmm. And he can't play. But if he gets 2 negative COVID tests, he can play on Sunday. I don't think it's the same rules for Aaron Rodgers because he's vaccinated. because he's vaccinated. Yeah.
So hold on. So why can't Aaron Rodgers play? Because
he's not vaccinated.
Because he's not vaccinated.
He's not vaccinated. Yeah.
Wait, no, that's not.
So I'll say it again.
I got you. I got you. All right, bro.
Yeah, no. Listen, here's my thing. My thing is this, right? I've watched Aaron Rodgers play all these other games before, so that means he's been unvaccinated already. So what makes this game special? Is there a law in Kansas City that stops people from participating, kind of like how it is here in New York?
Because he tested positive.
If he's positive, then absolutely you can't play. I mean,
right? He tested positive.
How they're writing it is they're making it seem that because he's unvaccinated, he can't play. That's the headline that I read.
No. He tested positive. Like again, Saquon tested positive, but because he's vaccinated, he gets 2 negative COVID tests. He can play
because
on Sunday.
He's not back. Well, listen, if you test positive during COVID-19, and I mean for COVID-19, yeah, whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated, you shouldn't be playing at all until you come back with a negative COVID test. So sorry, Aaron Rodgers. I guess we're gonna have to see what's that guy named Mr. Love. We're gonna have to see him come.
Mr. Love.
They can take it over. So Jordan that's that for that football stuff. What was the other topic?
That's Jordan from All American.
we got Scottie Pippen talking reckless and Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham? They told him to go home.
They told Odell Beckham to go home?
They did, yeah, they did.
Why?
Yeah, that's the latest report.
Because the team doesn't fuck with them anymore.
Well, listen, the Browns, just when you thought the Browns was going in the right direction, it seems like they're taking several steps back, kind of like how they were doing when I was watching football again. It's a real shame that somebody like Odell Beckham's talent is just being wasted over there. And
he's about to be released, and I'm sure someone's going to pick him up.
I'm hoping somebody does pick him up, and I hope they treat him a lot better than how we did the Giants in his last 2 years that we had with him. And I hope they do a lot better with him than Cleveland, because I feel like he's just wasted away the last 4 years of his career. I checked yesterday, and I thought he was younger. I just realized he's 29, so he's starting to get up there in quote unquote wide receiver years.
Age, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then the other topic clearly is Scottie Pippen. I woke up this morning, I was driving to work, and the Breakfast Club was covering Scottie Pippen, some of the comments from his book. He's talking about how he didn't get paid for the documentary. Jordan threw him and the teammates under the bus.
Oh, brother.
It was a lot. It was a lot to digest. So I'm like, I'm reading it, and certainly the memes are going out there about it. So his book is released next Tuesday, I believe. So
he's been trying to stay relevant ever since he stopped.
Ever since he got cheated on, literally.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to go to. I was going to basically say, like, ever since Future took his chick from him, he's kind of been in his, like, feelings for a long time. He's saying outlandish stuff like, LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. I mean, to each his own, whatever. But you actually play with this man, Jordan, and you saying you throwing him under the bus. Now, all of a sudden, all this information is coming out that you didn't get paid for the documentary. Clearly, this is just a money grab for his book. I'm definitely not buying it.
Or reading it.
Or reading it, yeah. So screw that. Scottie Pippen kissed my ass.
Yeah.
So the NBA season is going along. Clearly, we have. It feels like, I guess you could say, the '90s, the Knicks, the Bulls, the Heat,
Miami
are at the top of the Eastern Conference. So a lot of people getting that '90s love again. So is that what we want? Is that going to sell the NBA product, having those three teams back at the top of the East? The way we used to see it back in the 90s. Is that a good thing for basketball and not having your regular teams? Zig?
Absolutely, it's a good thing for basketball. We're finally getting to see some variety now. It's been a long time coming. We had to deal with for years. Andre's team was running shit, Miami Heat. Then we, see everywhere LeBron went, it just seemed like his team was always running stuff. So the minute he went west out to the Lakers, it kind of opened it up for the East now. And at this point now, the East is very, very, very strong.
It's better than the West.
Huh?
It's better than the West.
You know what, Andres? You
might be.
You make a great point, because I feel like the Western Conference is tough has been a fallacy, and people are gonna.
I'll let Ziggy cook.
Right. But Zig, would you agree with that? Because a lot of people would sit here and say, "Oh, the Western Conference is tough," but then when you look at the Western Conference over the last few years, it's been
I think the Western Conference,
there, right?
the Western Conference at this point, we can say that they match up with the Eastern Conference, right? Because the Clippers are not the Clippers, right? There's no Kawhi Leonard. The Denver Nuggets are going to take a seat back because there's no Jamal Murray. The Houston Rockets are rebuilding. The Dallas Mavericks are still trying to find their way. They got a one-trick pony in Luka Doncic.
They're bored.
Yeah, they're trying to get Kristaps back into the swing of things. The San Antonio Spurs have fallen off the map completely.
Thank God. Thank God.
Portland's falling off too.
Portland is falling off too. So, and then you look to the East. I had a homie who told me that the Wizards were going to be serious so far. We see the Wizards are actually doing pretty good. It's pretty early in the season. I've been telling people before the season that Miami is somebody that you have to look out for with that Kyle Lowry pickup. I think that's going to be huge. And Tyler Hero is lighting it up coming off the bench. He's doing an amazing job. The Knicks are the Knicks. They're doing their thing. But you know who's not at the top, Carl?
Ooh, go ahead. Say it for the people in the back.
No, who's not at the top of the conference?
No, not
the Celtics.
We already know.
Nah, we knew coming in what was the Celtics.
Yeah, we already knew that.
People want to go around posting power rankings about certain teams and whatnot, but that particular team, they're not up there. I'll just leave it at that.
You know what's so funny about them? They're crying worse than Andres cries about the refs. That's what I've been seeing about them. Honestly, bro. Because you know what? To be fair, I've seen a lot of them in the comments talking about the referees this and the referees that, and it's been a lot of comments about the referees.
Let me tell you something. Honestly, let me tell you something. When me and Ziggy were in the building, you know, James Harden texted us before the game, like, "Yo, I got you guys." He got 19 free throws. What can I say, man?
Eric is crying. I'll be totally honest. I love Eric. A shout out to Eric, who's a big Net fan. He's very good in the comments. But no, Peter, you're being petty. You're not upset about the refs, but you're being extremely petty. Now, someone texted me a rumor. Shout out to my cousin Patrick. And I thought it was real because I woke up at 2:00 in the morning and I looked at my phone and he said Kyrie to the Heat. And I started checking my sides like, oh my God.
He got you.
Yeah, he definitely got me. He definitely did. But it just raised the questions about, Kyrie's not playing. They're missing their third best player. We clearly know that. But what does that do for them for the season? Like, how do we go about that? Do they look to trade him? It does make a big difference as to why the Nets are not playing well because they are missing him. So, like, we can't sit here and try to ignore it, But, how do they move forward with that? And, does that really make a big difference in their standings?
Oh, absolutely. I think at this point, really true. I love Kyrie Irving, and I like the fact that he's standing up for doing what he believes is the right thing to do. But from an organization standpoint, if I'm the general manager out over there in Barclays Center, I'm moving Kyrie Irving. I got to move him. The bench for the Brooklyn Nets, it don't look as good as it did last year, man. There's a lot of unknowns on that team. And the minute you start sending James Harden to the bench and letting KD work, or sending KD to the bench and letting James Harden work with that second unit, you're now stressing out your star players in terms of fatigue so early in the season. It makes you wonder how much energy are they going to have when it comes down to that playoff time. You know what I'm saying? I think you got to make a move to send Kyrie somewhere and try to get some solid pieces back. As I said before, you got to wonder what people are saying about Spencer Dinwiddie, because I know a lot of Nets fans probably want him back.
Man, well, like I saw a game that we played the Wizards back-to-back games. He looks real good, man.
Yeah.
Even lie, he does. Mr. Numbers, what do you thought? Like I told you, I woke up with that rumor. I thought it was real. I was about to call you at 3:00 in the morning, like, wait a minute, you guys got Kyrie? And then I had to take myself back, like half asleep, like checking the phone, like, what's going on, checking my sources. But talk about Kyrie, talk about the Eastern Conference here. Clearly your team's looking really good.
I got a lot of shit to get on my chest, but so to go back to your point, Carl, if you watch The Last Dance, in a sense, I don't want to gas people, I don't want to gas Bulls fans. In a sense, when the big markets are good in the NBA, it's fire. Like, seeing those Knicks and Bulls battle in The Last Dance documentary, like, that shit was fire. Like, if you think otherwise, then you're lying to yourself. So so I think that big markets being good in the NBA is really good. So, like, the Bulls being good is good for the NBA and stuff. And another thing to point out is that the Bucks, they're literally dead. So Dante DiVincenzo is injured, Drew Holiday is injured, Chris Middleton has COVID, and Brook Lopez is injured. So Giannis is literally out there by himself, like, trying to make shit happen. So I know a lot of people want to say hangover, parade, whatever you want to call it, but if you're watching games, then you would know that they're all hurt. That's number one. Number two, you told me to talk about my Heat. I mean, Oof. What is there to say? We're 6-1. The one game, Kyle Lowry doesn't know what it's like to lose in a Miami Heat jersey yet. We're cooking. Eric Spoelstra is still the best coach in the NBA. Zero ifs, ands, or doubts. The Bulls are cooking. Vucevic is still not good at basketball, but the Bulls are cooking. Levine is cooking.
Whoa.
He's just disrespectful.
DeRozan is cooking. Lonzo has his games, but that team is only going to go as far as like the first or second round because Billy Donovan is not that guy. What else do we have? The Wizards, they're like 5-2, but they're not really moving the needle for me. The Nets are going to be all right once Harden, once Harden is fully healthy. I don't think he's 100% yet, but he's moving better laterally. He's moving better. He's attacking the cup more. These are little things that you don't realize when you're watching basketball, but someone like me, I see these things. Who else? Listen, man. If I had Nia Long at every Boston game, I probably wouldn't play basketball either. I'm just gonna throw it out there. But
listen, I already talked about my struggles yesterday. I'm not gonna beat on a dead horse. I already told.
No. I'm listen.
I know my team. I know where we stand.
No. But let me just say something, bro. I know you're not defending the JT and JB duo, but let me just say something. If you're Marcus Smart, why out of every person on the team, Marcus Smart is talking shit? Like, please tell me. Like that's like so let's say the big three era, right?
Why he can't talk shit?
Because he's not that guy.
I'll tell you why.
He's more that guy than Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
I'll tell you why. Marcus Smart is the vocal leader. Marcus Smart is also the longest, and also Marcus Smart is the longest tenured Celtic too. Like we have to.
And he's never gonna hold the candle to Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown.
That's not the point though. He's basically like their best. He's their best defensive player. Number one. Number two, like I said, longevity on the team now is it's not common to have a guy there for more than 3 to 4 years. He's been there the longest.
He's shooting 37% from 2 and 28% from 3.
Listen. We have to understand, and the one thing we try to do here is we try to be as transparent as possible. So why do we put an athlete down for being transparent? You see what I'm saying? He's not talking shit. They asked him a question and he answered it. Like I don't see what the problem is.
The reason why the Celtics are 2-5 is not because of Marcus Smart or Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. It's because they did nothing to get better this offseason. What did they do to get better, Carl? Nothing. They got Enes Cancer, who I respect, and I can't criticize now because of the video that he did for you. It's hard not talking shit about Cancer, But what did the Celtics do to get better this? Zig, what did the Celtics do to get better this offseason?
And not to take it away from you, Andres, I thought about that as well. When Marcus Smart made that comment, I had to go back and check the summer moves, and I said, y'all didn't really do anything major.
Nothing, bro.
No,
you just signed Dennis Schroeder and Enes Cancer, and
that's it.
And then they brought back Al Horford. They did. You're right. That's fair. So at the same time, though, what he's talking about has been going on for years. Like it's nothing new. You see what I'm saying? Like when you watch them play, like I said, at least one of them has to go because they're too similar and they're great, talented players. I just don't think it's working. One of them got to go. That's just how I see it.
Man. There's nothing. So you're telling me that they can't build around 2 stars? We did it. We did it around Bam and Jimmy, and we went to the NBA Finals.
Just look at the trajectory, bro. Look at the trajectory,
nah, bro.
Like, and I still believe we should have made it. Like we should have beat you guys, but we didn't.
Hell,
I mean, 2011?
2020.
Oh, my
2020,
bad.
right? So 2017 was Isaiah Thomas.
You guys
weren't going to beat LeBron, right?
So
2018. No, go ahead.
Thing.
Right.
No. Okay. So
you're right. 2018 we came close. 2019 was a bad year because Kyrie and Hayward come back. They all can't mesh together because by then Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum had already risen to the top. They're not taking a back seat. 2020 we made it to the conference championship, and then last year, I guess you can call it the COVID year, but we don't get nearly as far as we did the year before. You see what I'm saying?
But the thing is, the only year that you guys were supposed to win, like really win, was 2020. So let's see. So you guys missed the playoffs in 2015, correct? No, because
we made it
2015.
that year.
No. 2015
kind
of broke his hand. I'm lying. 2014, you guys missed the playoffs. 2015, first round exit. 2016, second round exit. 2017, you guys made the conference finals, and you guys were not supposed to beat the Cavs. 2018, excuse me, Hayward and Kyrie get hurt, right? And then you have
we make it to Game 7 and we lose to the Cavs in 7.
Right. Because Terry Rozier thought he was the best player on the court. That's the only reason you guys lost that game, not because of anything else. Because Terry Rozier went like 0 for 13, and then 2019, the chemistry issues, obviously the shots, and then Tatum took off the year prior, so he just completely took off, and he's always been better than Hayward ever was. And then in 2020, Kemba wasn't 100%, and Hayward missed the birth of his child for the series, and they still lost. So the only year, in my humble opinion, I think that you guys should have made the finals was 2020. Last year, what happened last year? Everything. I mean, last year was a COVID year, a lot of injuries, a lot of COVID stuff. So, like,
again, this is right. But again, this is their year for them to prove it. Like I said, I know it's only 7 games.
This year, you guys are not gonna do shit either, bro. And I mean that in the nicest way possible.
It's fine. I've accepted it. It's okay. I've accepted it. But again, I don't have a problem with Marcus Smart making his comments because, again, he's being as completely transparent as possible. So I'm not going to sit here and tell a player not to be honest. And that's how he feels. I'm not going to sit here and tell him no.
So who's the best 2 players on the Knicks? The Randall and RJ, right?
On the Knicks right now? Yeah, that's Julius Randle and RJ Barrett.
Okay, ask Ziggy if he realizes how mad Julius gets when RJ makes buckets. Ask him. If you watch Knicks games, whenever RJ has a bucket, Julius Randle gets so mad.
Really?
Ziggy?
Yep.
I've never seen Julius react in any way when one of his teammates.
He's asking. I'm telling you, bro. Look at that.
Travis, don't say that. That's not true, Travis. I do love
I'm gonna check that out. So I'm gonna check that out, Andres. I'm gonna check that out.
Bro, look at it. He's jealous that RJ's gonna be better than him in a couple of years.
But why would he be mad? But right, I don't see why he would be mad about
because he wants his stats. He wants to get paid. He's mad.
But he got paid. It's RJ's turn now.
It's RJ's turn now. Absolutely. So
before I let you guys go, I got a quick question.
We got the Pacers for a nice little snack tonight.
Let me ask you guys a question.
Carl. Let me add one more thing to what Ziggy was saying. The Western Conference isn't good right now because the top stars are hurt. Like the Nuggets are struggling. MPJ got paid for no reason because he's not good. The Lakers are still figuring it out. The Suns have like a hangover, but Devin Booker has been playing basketball for like 12 straight months with the Olympics, the NBA Finals and everything. The Clippers don't have Kawhi Leonard. The Blazers are the same Blazers every year. The Mavericks
is low right now.
Yeah, but he'll be all right. The Mavericks, they're trying to build around Luka, but they don't know how to build around Luka. Like, how do you have a top 10 talent like him and you can't build around them? The Utah Jazz, we know what it is with them every single year. Yeah, so I think, in my humble opinion, the Eastern Conference right now is better than the Western Conference.
Let me ask this question. Our next debate coming up is about, regular season versus playoffs. Mike Miller wants to address why NBA fans value the playoffs more than the regular season. Greg Polius says that, he doesn't like that NBA fans do that. Like they value or they raise, I guess, the bar for NBA playoffs over the regular season. So, Zig, where do you stand on this issue? Is it really an issue? I mean, it's just, part of that conversation.
You mean, me, I personally don't give a shit. I'm going to watch basketball regardless if it's in the season or if it's the playoffs. But I will say that I'm not going to put the playoffs over the season because you have to go through the season to get to the playoffs. So I'll just leave it at that.
Andres?
What Ziggy said is the same thing that you said, Carl. Like, a lot of people that say the regular season doesn't matter. You need to go through the regular season to get to the playoffs. So a lot of people, it's the same thing with the seeding. In the Eastern Conference, in the last 15 years, only 3 1 seeds have actually won the title, which is the Cavs, the Heat, and I think your Celtics in 2008. So regardless, the regular season is still going to matter, and maybe it doesn't get the hype and the attention, but in April and May, we're still all sitting down and watching the playoffs.
Exactly.
So one way or another, the regular season matters. You don't win 73 games by not playing the regular season. You don't win 66 games and getting home court for the entire playoffs by not playing the regular season. The teams that are usually the best in the regular season are the ones that are usually competing for the NBA championship. It's rare cases where we see a 4th seed or a 5th seed make the NBA finals, or let's shout out the Knicks, or the Knicks in 1999 when they were the 8th seed and they made the NBA finals. So the regular season holds value, period.
The Knicks, not the Pacers, right? The Knicks.
No, come on, man. Listen, I didn't get to tune in last week, but Reggie Miller needs his flowers, man. I don't care, bro. That man was I know a lot of people like to cut ass on him because of his commentating on TNT, but
it's actually pretty good.
His commentating on TNT is
his commentating is excellent.
It's good.
No, TNT did a great wonder by allowing Chris Webber not to return. That's the best thing they could have ever did. Because Chris Webber had to go. I'm sorry. I love C-Web. I love C-Web as a player, but he had to go. I couldn't stand listening to him.
I guess I'm the only one one that likes C Webb. I'm
you
sorry.
like C Webb on the
I
nah,
thought
man.
C Webb was good, man. I like C Webb.
No, he had to go with that. C Webb had to go, man. There's certain people that don't belong in the commentating booth. C Webb is one of them. He had to go.
I was thinking about how fast C Webb was a commentator just a couple days ago. Just randomly, I was like, "Yo, C Webb is gone," and I'm so happy. No, I really
he really was trash. He really was.
Yo, I'm mad
like,
happy.
If you really listen
I want to. I was thinking about the stupid Rondo thing and all that. I was like, "Yo, I'm so glad I don't have to hear him." Like,
but Mike, we were just talking about it. Greg's going to come in to talk about regular season versus the postseason. I know you wanted to address that, so
sure.
We're waiting for Greg to come in, but I know you wanted to basically discuss that. What did you have to say about that?
Yeah, it's one of those things where we don't understand. I think it's just a lack of understanding about basketball. And if we don't understand basketball, then we won't understand the distinctions between the regular season and the postseason. You want me to go all the way in, or you want me to wait for that?
No, you can start. I mean, Greg said he was coming in. I don't know where he's at, but he said he was coming.
So let Mike cook.
Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all cook, man.
So look, it's one of those situations like, first of all, again, I'm gonna use Kenny Smith's quote because I love it. Regular season is where you make your name, playoff is where you make your fame. And the reason why is because with basketball, unlike any other sport, a single player has so much power in what they do and how they affect the game. So regular season, the main reason why, one of the many reasons why we elevate regular playoff success over regular season success for individuals and teams is because of one word: pressure. There's more pressure in April of the NBA season than there is in January of the NBA season. When you're playing a game in January, this is why we all know, if longstanding NBA fans, everybody knows the first 2 weeks, we can't judge a lot in the first 2 weeks because everybody's fresh. All the bad teams don't know they're bad yet. It takes up, that's why most people count, correct me if I'm wrong, most people count the regular season starting after Christmas. Nobody counts, the people hard pressed to count it before, even though I just popped in with Mr. Numbers. I think the regular season matters, absolutely. But when we talk about playoffs, then the pressure heightens. Now every game counts. Now you got to win. You got to beat a team 4 times in 2 weeks. That added pressure busts pipes or make diamonds. So that's why we elevate playoff success, because it's not that regular season doesn't count. Regular season is the precursor to what we see in the playoffs. The playoffs is when we're really going to get a chance to look and say, oh, no, this guy is who we thought he was, or this woman, WNBA. That's when the great ones, that everybody's almost in the same pack a lot of times in the regular season. You get 82 games. It's those 3 months in the playoffs that you see the separation in the superstars. You start to see the gaps. You start to see like, oh, wait a minute. Joe Johnson looks real good in the regular season and real good sometimes in the playoffs, but then you compare him to a guy like LeBron and you say, well, they get numbers, but then when this dude gets to the playoffs, one of the main things people always look at, we've always looked at this with NBA players. And Shaq talks about it a lot. Example would be points per game. What was your points per game during the regular season? Did it increase when you got to the playoffs? In other words, when the pressure heightened, did you get better or did you get worse or did you stay the same? That's a way we've always judged NBA superstars. Do they get better when the playoffs come, when the pressure comes? So that's one of the many reasons why we elevate playoff. I personally do, and most throughout NBA history, players as well as media, as well as fans, have always elevated playoff success over regular season success.
Greg, I know you walked in on half of that, but I guess you kind of understand what Mike's perspective is about why playoffs, we elevate the playoffs over regular season. What are your thoughts? Well, how are you, sir? How is your day going?
It's been a little hectic, but I mean,
hold
of course,
on, man. Yo, you ain't do that for me when I came on. You ain't say how was your day. You ain't do that for me.
I'm sorry, Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Now don't ask me nothing now.
This already started off on a ridiculous note with Mike comparing Joe Johnson to LeBron as if they're even in the same realm of caliber player. So I see what I already walked into.
That's all he heard in the 2 minutes I was talking.
You still said it. Like that, we cannot bypass that you actually said
Just
that.
address the point. We don't want to hear nothing else. Stop being a clickbait. Just address my points, please.
Mike, you are the definition of clickbait. So let's stop.
You love
so
me
Greg,
too much.
so Greg, you disagree with elevating the playoffs over the regular season, right?
When we are discussing an entire career, right? Yes, it's nice to have playoff success, but if you say this person is better because their team did more in the playoffs, that doesn't rock with me, because winning in the playoffs ultimately is not an individual thing. And the NBA is the only sport that makes it seem so. That is the issue I have. NBA fans like Mike said, puts the playoffs on the pedestal. So you could be this amazing, great player, right? But if you don't have that postseason success, it's almost like it nullifies what you do in the regular season, and that's hogwash.
But let me ask this though: is it fair to say that the players themselves talk about it?
Carl, what happened is he did not answer your question. Ask
Absolutely.
it again. No, you didn't. He asked you about playoff players and their playoff success.
He just asked me that just now.
No. What I was addressing was players, individual players, and what they do in the playoffs. That's what Carl's about to re-ask, because you didn't answer the question. So individual players, do they themselves elevate what they do in the playoffs more than the regular season? You say what?
It doesn't start with the players. It starts with the media. This was all driven by the media. Period. The media.
Talk to him, Carl, please.
I'm trying so hard.
I'm
trying so hard not to be biased here.
Because it's very easy.
Players do it
we want your opinion too.
But the players do it though. The players do it. The players talk about it.
But let me tell you why the players talk about it. Because the players have, especially today's players have grown up where it's a ring or bust culture. Who fostered that ring or bust culture? Fans and the media, not the players. Because you still have players that are like, give me my money. I want to be great. I want to be a Hall of Famer. If I win, it is what it is. You still have players like that. But for the most part, right, you have the media and the debate shows that push that, well, he doesn't win in the playoffs, so he's not as good. Am I wrong?
Let me give him an example. So was their first take undisputed and all those shows in 85 when they criticized Michael Jordan? Because they criticized Michael Jordan before all of this.
What was the criticism of Michael Jordan?
That he's a ball hog and can't win.
He couldn't get past Detroit.
He can't impact winning.
He couldn't get past the Pistons. That was the debate.
Because why?
The early criticism was he's a ball hog that cannot impact winning. This is now how. Remember, you're a teacher, but now you will be a student today. Let me teach. So this is what basketball is, and this is what you're confusing. And you did it last week. You compared, when I talked about Reggie Miller's playoff success, you compared Larry Fitzgerald. Bad mistake. You're comparing football to basketball. Those are two totally different sports. Let me give you an example. So you're telling
me you don't know how comparisons work? Cool, got it.
No.
Since you
are bad one.
No.
I know how they work.
No. You're telling me you don't know how they work.
No. You know, it's like this, Greg. When you say comparing apples to oranges, they're a comparison. They're just a bad one. You made a bad one. Let me help you. So Larry Fitzgerald has to rely on a quarterback to throw to him in order for him to get his receptions, correct? Yes. Okay. After Larry Fitzgerald scores, he does nothing on defense. Let me give you an example of what NBA players can do when they impact a whole game. So the Pacers, when they played your Knicks, when Reggie scored 8 points in 8.6 seconds, we know the numbers, but we forget.
Remember, I said cute moments. I did say he had cute moments. I did say that.
But hold on, stay on track. I'm trying to help you. So we forget that it was just points, but we don't mention that he got a steal. That means he impacted offense and defense, which elevated his team to a win. Larry Fitzgerald can never do that because he can't go back on defense and stop the other quarterback.
Do me a favor. Do me a favor.
It's a bad argument. But
stop talking to me about Reggie Miller and his wins in the postseason. He was 18 and 17. Stop doing it.
See how he can't stay focused? He's a bad teacher.
No.
I'm trying to help.
You lack focus, and here's why.
I'm giving you a simple point. Greg, I'm giving you a simple point. In basketball, the players impact every aspect of the game. Because of that, we elevate the things that they do in those games, individual players. So even though we don't give them all the credit for the championship, there's a reason that in that 2016 finals, when the Cavs come back, they not only highlighted LeBron's 41 points, but they highlighted the chase down block or when he played the Bulls in the 2012, the Miami Heat fan could correct me, the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals, when he held Derrick Rose, 2011, when he held Derrick Rose for a minute and 30 seconds without scoring and also scored. See, basketball players get to impact the whole game. Because of that, we elevate what they do in contribution to win.
So here's the thing. But what you guys do is you elevate them despite what they've done in the regular season and their greatness. That's the problem. Wait, Carl, don't say anything, Carl. Okay. Don't say anything. And I knew he was going to come with Larry Fitzgerald, and I knew he's going to come with that both sides of the ball basketball BS in order to devalue what a player has done throughout the entirety of their careers, not just the playoffs, the entirety of, which is also why Adrian Danley will always be better than Reggie Miller.
But that's not the point I'm making.
Furthermore, no, you're not going to listen to me. Furthermore, Ken Griffey Jr. played both sides of the baseball and had very limited postseason success, and he's one of the greatest of all time to do it. You will never hear anybody poo-poo him and say he didn't win a World Series, therefore it diminishes his greatness. So do not talk to me.
Okay, so what players? Okay, so let me ask you this: so what players are we diminishing that? Like, because I could sit here and name the great players who are in the Hall of Fame who still get their flowers and they didn't win a championship. We could sit here and talk about Charles.
You guys spent a whole year and some change. And Mike still does it to this, calls him CPO. You have diminished. This guy's going to be one of the top 5 greatest point guards ever played.
He wasn't great.
No. Don't do that. There's actual documentation. There's actual on wax of saying CP3, because of his lack of playoff success, is not going to be revered as highly. You have stated this. I said
he's not as good as Stephen Curry because he does not have the playoff success and resume as Stephen Curry.
So what I say, he's diminished.
That's true. But that doesn't make him not great.
So Greg, to answer that part though, do you feel when you have a Steph Curry and CP3, would you put CP3 over Steph or no?
I wouldn't, because when you're talking that caliber player, but Mike did what Mike does, and it's really cute. But since I've been debating Mike all these years, I can tell that Mike just tried to throw a little shimmy in there, and try to switch narrative. Oh, it's Stephen Curry, when he has himself, and I can pull up the receipts, has stated CP3 is overrated because of his lack of playoff success, not in comparison to Stephen Curry. Period. No, and you said which is stupid.
The reason why I said he's overrated is what he's compared to. He's compared to Stephen Curry. If that's his measure, he's not as good as Stephen Curry.
He's not just compared to Steph Curry.
No, he's not. Right,
exactly. See,
but again, he is compared to other. Okay, Andres, you want to get into a quick point here? Go ahead, real quick. I'll let them get back to it because we got 15 minutes. Go ahead.
I know this isn't my segment, but I do have a question for Greg. I don't mean to. This is going to be a terrible analogy, but I got to make it. Would you rather have Madison Bumgarner's career or Clayton Kershaw's career?
Clayton Kershaw, easily. Not even close. He still won a World Series, and he's still arguably the greatest lefty of our generation.
Stop. So the first thing you said was what he did in the playoffs.
No. Because if you know baseball, if you know baseball, if you know baseball, you know that the knock on Clayton Kershaw is that he doesn't get it done in the playoffs. So I was already dispelling.
And you
don't watch baseball. No.
So it didn't make a difference.
What I'm telling you is, even with
Carl,
that
you like that, Carl, I know you like that.
I do. Yeah, that was a little. That was a little media trick, Greg. Greg, did set you up.
It's not a trick. It's not a trick because even with the knock, because Mike is too silly to understand baseball.
He didn't get it.
So no.
Andres asked the question different. If he didn't get it and had the same numbers,
Clayton Kershaw is a better pitcher on all levels than Madison Bumgarner. Madison Bumgarner had a. I just said Clayton Kershaw. I said that.
Okay, but you already gave up your argument because you mentioned World Series first.
Because no.
Thank you.
But Andres, this is what happened when you argue with a fool.
Can you address my point, please?
Okay.
I address
this
basketball.
Is what happens when you argue with a fool.
Basketball. You're talking chatty patty. I
And
broke
Carl,
down basketball.
this is why I say the NBA team
Basketball.
can't hang with the baseball team because they cannot discuss points on multiple fronts.
We're talking about basketball. Do you understand how basketball works?
But this goes back to you telling me you're a teacher and you can understand comparisons, which you clearly can't, and you've shown on multiple occasions.
You're showing you don't know basketball.
You're showing you don't know basketball by saying Reggie Miller is better than Adrian Dantley.
Oh,
Let me help you out.
Please.
No, I'll just let them go. I like to let them go. But again,
I gotta try this again because he's talking about all these different. Here, let me ask someone else. I gotta try this again because he's all over the place and he can't see. He can't see the comments can tell where I am. It's a very simple point, and I'm trying to make it, but you're not helping me because you're not understanding. Let me try it one more time.
You're not good at this.
The sport of basketball, the sport of basketball includes offense and defense.
So does the sport of baseball.
Stop. Players, yes. And the difference is in basketball, players have an immediate impact on both sides because they're playing both sides. Larry Fitzgerald doesn't play defense.
It happens in baseball too, though.
What? Are you serious right now?
With the Larry Fitzgerald example.
He's going back to his Larry Fitzgerald example.
Because he has no understanding. Carl, did I come on here and talk about Larry Fitzgerald today? No, I didn't, right?
Okay, exactly.
So, I'm giving you the example of how in basketball,
Greg. So aside, all right. So let's get something straight.
Every aspect of the game.
So let's get something straight. So aside from Chris Paul, like I said to you before, Greg, a lot of players we know do not win championships. They make it to the finals, but it still doesn't get their. I believe they still get their flowers, right? So we talk about the Patrick Ewing who leads the Knicks all time in franchise points and all their statistical categories. You talk about a guy like Allen Iverson. You talk about a guy like Reggie Miller. You talk about like Karl Malone. You talk about John Stockton. Those guys still have their names etched in NBA history, but they still didn't make it to they still didn't win a championship ring. Is that enough for you to deem that, okay, it's not enough? Or are you still mentioning as far as today's current players are not getting?
No, those players are great. And I've always said that it should not be held against them that they didn't win. I'm a proponent of not holding the playoffs in such a high esteem that you knock down other players. Like this, Mike Miller has spent his entire media Sports Illustrated career propping up Reggie and downgrading Chris Paul. That doesn't make sense because Chris Paul is the better player.
Yo, you watch me way too much. You think I talk about Reggie or Chris Paul that much?
Okay.
It's crazy
that
you don't even remember the things you said.
Let me ask another question. So why can't we criticize a player when they get to the elite part of their career and they don't win? Why is that not fair for us to say?
Why are you criticizing a player for still getting to the pinnacle? Why?
No, I'm asking a fair question though. Why
is it fair or is it a biased question?
No, it's not a biased question. It's a fair question.
Let me say something real quick. So
just go.
What Greg was saying is true because I don't mean to make everything about LeBron. In 2011, right, or 2010 actually, after he lost against the Celtics, he was a two-time MVP and he had like 10 All-Star games. And the criticism was every time that he can't get it done in the playoffs, So despite him being the regular season monster that he was still receiving a lot of criticism despite having like a Hall of Fame career the first 7 years of his life.
Right, but
I understand.
No, right. But again, I'm asking though. So what you're saying
is that what Carl's asking is it fair to criticize what he did?
But
in the
why can't we
2011
criticize
finals?
again? This is what we do in sports conversation. So you're saying what you guys are basically saying is that we can't, like, a player loses in the finals, a great player who we compare with all the greats, they lose at the pinnacle point.
Hold on,
and plays bad. We can't say anything about it.
There's nuance to this. If you analyze a series and they like say LeBron in 20 was that the Mavs 2011?
2011.
Yeah.
So
2011.
It's fair to criticize the way he played, but to diminish his career, it's fair to criticize how he played in that series, Carl, but to diminish his career over it is not fair. No,
over 6 games.
The thing. It's not diminishing, but all these conversations are based on comparison.
Bro,
that's what this was all about.
When you call CP3 overrated,
Stop obsessing with overrated. You got to get help.
I'm not obsessing. I'm using your words against you.
Listen. No, you're too obsessed with the things I said in the past. Pay attention today.
That's your cop out when you're wrong. You know that, right?
I'm gonna ask Andres because you don't know what you're talking about. So I'm gonna ask Andres. Andres, if at that point in LeBron's career, right, when he had the 2011 failures, if we compared him to Michael Jordan, wouldn't that 2011 failures in the finals be one of the ways in which to separate his career from Michael Jordan's career and what he did in the finals?
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
That is what we're talking about.
But the thing is, to what Greg was saying. The thing is, everyone talks about Charles Barkley like he was a bum because he didn't win the NBA Finals.
Chuck does that though, not necessarily.
Everyone talks about Chuck like he was a bum.
I think this is part of the problem. We just argue narratives. Like I think Karl Malone is the greatest power forward ever. He has no championships. I clearly think Wilt Chamberlain is statistically the greatest player ever. So I'm consistent. The point is when we're comparing different players, example, when everybody knocks Reggie, I talk about basically Reggie was a star in the regular season, then became a superstar in the playoffs. That's a fact. Look at his numbers. So what I'm saying is when we compare players, we have to take into everything. We have to look at what were you doing in the most pressurized moments? That is the NBA playoffs. And if in the most pressurized moments, you do not rise, but your game falls individually, then we can take that into consideration.
Hold on, real quick. It's kind of ironic that Mike says we take everything into consideration when last week we brought up Dwight Howard and the first thing he said was playoffs. That's not taking everything into consideration, Mike.
That's the thing that separates them.
Mike,
that's what separates the white from Reggie.
Okay,
Mike,
so
it doesn't.
Right. So then, okay. So Greg, so then let me ask you this though, a fair question. Can we separate players when we compare? What do we do to separate them? How do we separate them?
Great question.
You separate them by their skills and their accolades.
But isn't part of their accolades? So the rings don't count as part of their accolades. Then?
So I'm talking about individual accolades because again, making it to the playoffs and winning a championship, that is a team accomplishment. You're not going to sit here and tell me that Udonis Haslem had a better career than Charles Barkley. You wouldn't do that.
Right, but we're looking at his entire career. I'm talking about superstars in general, not necessarily role players.
Run, doesn't that not elevate him now? His
playoff
run.
So here's another
playoff run. Doesn't it elevate him?
Hold on. Go ahead, Andres.
Wait, two things. Number one, Jokic won MVP last year, and Chris Paul made the finals. Right? Who had a better season?
Who had a better season?
Who are you asking, me or Mike?
Greg,
Jokic had a better season. Well, Jokic had a better season.
Jokic had a better season.
Jokic had a better season.
Okay, so you guys are being consistent. Okay, my next point, Mike, who had a better career between AI and Charles Barkley based on your criteria of the playoffs?
In terms of playoffs, Charles Barkley had more playoff success.
Okay, so Mike is consistent with his points, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Just because you're consistent doesn't mean you're right.
No, I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying.
But you have yet to put an argument that makes me wrong. You haven't yet to put an argument.
The problem is, Mike, you came here and just tried to say that basketball is the only sport where you play offense and defense, when literally baseball you play offense and defense to impact the game.
I didn't say that.
Mike, the comments heard you. You don't even remember what you said. Do you have short-term memory loss?
No. Okay. So Greg, so Greg, so the ring counts is again, Mike, Greg's biggest issue is the ring counts. He doesn't want us to acknowledge rings.
It's not to acknowledge rings. It's when you use a team stat like rings to knock down another player based on individual talent and accolades.
Right, because you know what, rings are a matter of circumstance. It's a matter of where you're drafted. It's a matter of your organization. It's a matter of who they surround around you for you to play with. I think more so rings are to be.
But again, Carl, the media is the one who propagated rings on this pedestal.
Carl, I'm gonna give you a new age example of what they do now. Earlier, when everybody used to watch NBA, nobody cared who lost in the finals. It was, did you win or lose? Jerry West was 1-9. Nobody talks about it. Jerry West hates that stat about it. LeBron started going to the finals and losing. What did they do? They started counting his stats to say, see, well, he was the finals MVP. See, he was great.
That's cute. I see what you did there. That was cute.
They care about his individual performance. You don't gotta. I've always maintained, Carl. You don't have to win.
You've maintained being wrong since it's a sports thing.
Listen, I will say this though. To be fair, we've been covering, Greg and I. We've all been covering sports and watching sports since since 2000, since we were in high school, right? I really didn't start here, and Greg, I know you're going to disagree, but I really didn't start hearing about finals losses until LeBron, because we can go back and talk. Magic lost 5,
but you do realize why that happened.
Magic lost 4, but he won 5. Continue,
okay, you won 5. Sorry, yeah, but again, we didn't start hearing about that.
Why are we running away from the elephant in the room?
Which is what?
Why? LeBron started getting knocked on his finals losses because Jordan stands they propagated the 6-0 as if that was the pinnacle. That's what started knocking.
But those
Why
are
are we
certain
not saying that?
No, it's true. That's fair. That's fair.
But then those certain fans and media, the media started doing it too. Stephen A. Smith does it all the time.
But we've always, as NBA fans, elevated the pressurized moments of the play. That's why Jordan got so much credit for scoring 63 against the Celtics, because we've always elevated in the most pressurized moment, pressure bust pipes. So in those pressurized moments, what do? Jordan scored 63 as a rookie. Everybody elevated it. We've always done that.
I gotta play devil's advocate real quick, Mike. So you said Michael scored 63 in that game against the Celtics, right? He lost. But people remember the 63, right?
He lost.
LeBron had 58 and 8 against the Warriors in game 1 of the 2018 finals.
51.
And 51. And everyone says, well, who cares he lost? So why are we
But remember, all LeBron fans point to that to say, see, look. My point is that the point is very simple. We've always elevated playoff success from individuals. We've always done that. That's not
what
new.
I've learned from this debate, because I got to run, is that the fans created narratives that
the fans control the media.
The fans in the media create those narratives. So you have to decide. Again, as a sports fan, are you going to follow those narratives? Again, I'm not going to lie. To be petty, sometimes I follow those narratives. Yeah, I do the ring count if I want to be petty. I'm not going to lie. I do it.
Do you know? Listen, Carl.
No, that's not. I'm not talking about the playoffs mattering more. We're talking about championships. That's not what we're talking about. Clearly, we know.
You just want to talk about championships now.
Yeah. It's just a championship factor. I'm not going to lie. There are times where old Carl 10 years ago, I would be petty and be like, well, he has more rings than not. Chances are I'm not doing that now, right? But I'm saying, but I feel
you've grown. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Again, you grow old, right? But I think that's what we all do as fans, is that there are times where we do use the ring count. But now when we're talking about X's and O's, we're talking about circumstances. We don't necessarily talk about the rings because, again, these guys make it into the Hall of Fame too. And I think that's something that people don't.
Why are you guys talking about the Hall of Fame, bro? The NBA Hall of Fame is the easiest Hall of Fame to get into.
That's not true, because there's only 10% of the league that gets in. Only 10% of players.
I believe it's the hardest Hall of Fame to get in is the NFL. Then it's followed by the MLB.
Right.
I think the NFL is hard, at least for receivers. It's hard.
I think it's the MLB.
Right.
Maybe that could be a segment, Carl. By the way,
listen, Carl. The thing is, what Greg is trying to say is that Clayton Kershaw, right? He's literally the Sandy Koufax of our generation. And before last year, everyone looked at him like a bum because he didn't win a championship. Meanwhile, if you look at his stats, he's literally a first ballot Hall of Famer. So what Greg is trying to say is, why are we discrediting Clayton Kershaw's Hall of Fame career because of 3 unlucky games where he just didn't have it?
That's all. Part of it is again the media. Greg, final point here because I have to run.
My final point is Mike came on here to try to foolishly talk me down as a teacher and use words to make it seem like I didn't know what I was talking about. And on the other side of his mouth said that basketball is the only sport where a player directly impacts offense and defense. Meanwhile, you had guys like Jock Peterson, and Jorge Soler and Eddie Rosario helping the Braves win a World Series on both offense and defense.
Mike, final point.
I've always hated when you bring baseball players to talk basketball. I continue to hate it.
It's okay. You can't talk about it. I get it. It's cool.
Greg is a Twitter troll. I have accepted that.
That's me, bro.
He does nothing but come on here. He doesn't listen. He just makes up what he wants. He didn't argue basketball at all. He just argued narratives.
Do we need to have a part 3? Listen, are we having a part 3? Or with the series?
I'm sick of talking to Greg about basketball. I don't.
Carl, wait, Carl. One more thing.
Pointless.
We can't come back until Mike proves that Adrian Dantley was worse than Reggie Miller.
Carl,
my man 75. Adrian Dantley isn't. I don't have to prove nothing. They already did.
Andre's final point. Bro. I gotta go.
So, what Mike is saying is also true because in the regular season you game plan for one opponent. In the postseason you game plan for. In the regular season you game plan for 82 opponents. In the playoffs you game plan for one opponent 7 times, and you got to be able to win 4 of those 7. So to a certain extent, the playoffs does bring more pressure because You have to adjust, you have to make adjustments for one team, not 82 of them or 30.
I never said it didn't bring more pressure. I never stated that.
Yeah,
No,
Greg's problem again is
saying,
the ring count. Greg just doesn't want you to take a player and say they don't have enough rings. That's the issue.
Argument about nothing. Then I don't care about ring count. I was arguing. So,
Carl, you do this a lot. You like to minimize my arguments. You did it.
I'm not minimizing it. I'm just letting you know what you have a problem with, bro. Am I lying?
It's diminishing the entirety of a career based on lack of postseason success, which is a team thing, right? Now, if Kevin Garnett was a Hall of Famer in Minnesota, okay? We said that. Mike says I don't talk basketball. We're gonna talk basketball before you go. And he did not get his just due until he won that ring, and that's ridiculous. That should not have been the case. Kevin Garnett essentially kind of revolutionized. He was kind of the first real stretch forward, if we're being honest.
Yeah. All right. Like I said, if you guys want to have a part 3, we'll do a part 3 next week. So no, we're done. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you guys. Please make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. You guys, God bless. Have a good night.